Hey everybody, welcome to the advice stream. I am your host, Jeremy International. We are live on Twitch and Facebook and YouTube, as well as JeremyInternational.com. The advice stream, if you're new, is the stream where we play old video games. We'll talk more about that in a minute. And then you, the audience at home, can go ahead and send in questions if you'd like to. If you'd like to seek advice, if you have a conundrum or a puzzle, if you find yourself in a bit of a pickle about all kinds of stuff. And me and the gang here will help you figure out what to do. We'll give you advice. That's why it's called the advice stream. We're streaming and it's advice, ergo advice stream. Wow, that's a solid intro I put together there. I hope everyone's having a good time. We got Jugsy in the chat already. Hey, Jugsy. Oh, hello, handsome. That's nice to hear.
Jugsy is the best. He's our most consistent fan.
I'm glad that we're all here. We're going to play, we're going to go back because this was such a big hit last week. We're going to go back and play more Jeopardy on the Sega Genesis. What else we plan? I got a special guest, our reoccurring regular guest, Oldman, will be joining us here shortly. I've also because all the old-timey video game people on the internet do this. I have like a recent haul. I have can show you the most recent games that I bought. I just got a box in the mail of old video games. So we'll go through those together. And, you know, we'll do all other kinds of things. Hey, Amir, welcome back, Amir, to the chat. We are live on Twitch and Facebook and YouTube, but all the parties mostly happening over on the Twitch. Jugsy was going to say, I was going to ride to the shops, but now I'm going to walk to the shops so I can watch Germ. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Jugsy. Don't forget to look up when you get to a crosswalk. The shops. Jugsy's in like Australia or New Zealand or something, I think, right? Isn't that right, Jugsy? Do I remember that correctly? I've got my bourbon. God, this is good bourbon. This is Basil Hayden's, if you can get it.
Basil?
Jugsy says 15% battery. Can you guys dim your lights a little bit? What if I
actually can. I'm going to do
slowly? I think this will use less of your battery. Today's episode of the advice stream is unofficially brought to you by apples. Have an apple. Jugsy, if you're going to go to the shops, get an apple. I'm sure they got apples in Australia. They probably have an apple today. They're good for you. They're healthy. They're generally cheap. This is a picture I have here of a Gala apple. You know, everyone's talking about Honeycrisp these days. Honeycrisp are great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say anything bad about Honeycrisp. But try a Gala. Galas are good. Gala. Doom Swoop says, hello. Hey, Doom Swoop. I don't think you've been on the chat before. Welcome to the stream, Doom Swoop. Man, that's a good name. That's such a good name. Doom Swoop. It's fun to say. I'm gonna have a hard time not saying that all night long. Yeah, okay. So apples, unofficially sponsor of today's show. Apples. Go buy an apple. Eat an apple. Applesauce doesn't count. You got a stomach ache? Eat an apple. It'll make you feel better, but no applesauce. Doom Swoop says that they're a bean. Look at it upside down. I can't do Doom. Oh man, it says the same thing both ways. Whoa! You just made me feel like I'm high. I'm not. I'm sadly not. Doom Swoop upside down is Doom Swoop. All right. So without further ado, if you're there and you're ready to party, Oldman, let's bring Oldman in. Hang on just a second, though. I forgot to do the thing. I'm a little behind in my activities for the evening. Okay, here is... Hey, Oldman, hold on. I have to unmute you. You're unmuted. Hey, Oldman, you're live.
Hello.
Are you talking? Can I hear you?
I also...
There we go.
Wait.
I can hear you fine.
No. There's an echo.
There's an echo?
Mm-hmm.
Keep talking.
Hello.
Hang on a sec, Oldman. Let's slow it down for a minute, please. Hey, audience at home. When Oldman talks, do you hear Oldman echoing? Because I don't hear Oldman echoing. He sounds fine to me. Oldman's end is a bit loud. Amir, that's true. Am I right? Am I right, Oldman? You got a loud end?
It's loud. It's loud.
That's a fart joke. I think you sound fine. Is he echoing to you, audience at home? Let's find out. If I haven't said before, if you'd like to seek advice from me as well as Oldman, as well as, the audience, we discuss these questions as a community. Amir says there is an echo. Is there an echo for me, or is it just Oldman? God, why do we always have this problem? Is it me, or is it just Oldman, audience at home? Who's echo? Who's got the echo?
You have the echo.
It's me?
No, it's me.
Hello. Doom Swoop says it's just you, Oldman. What are you doing? We didn't have an echo last time. What are you doing differently?
That seems like it's the same.
Okay. Well, while Oldman's figuring that out, we'll, just as a reminder, everyone, if you'd like to seek advice on tonight's advice stream, well, you could always just throw the question in the chat. Everyone's going to see your screen name. But if you want to do that, that's cool. If you'd rather keep it anonymous, you can head on over to JeremyInternational.com. And there's a contact form at the bottom of the website there where you can send in a question and we'll read it anonymously. What are our credentials? What are my credentials? And then I'll give Oldman a second. Hopefully he won't be echoing to share his credentials. My credentials for providing advice. Well, I'm by some people's accounts middle age, although I'm probably a bit over the midway point for me, statistically speaking. And, I've been around. I've lived a life. I've traveled a bit. I've rocked a couple of faces. So, I'm. If you don't know me, I'm a performer, a comedic actor. I've been in a few things in the area. And I'm chronically ill, and I'm a cancer survivor, and I really like music and technology. So you can ask me about any of those things. And I probably will be able to give you good answers, I hope. What about you? What about you, Oldman? What's your advice credentials? Let's give it a test. Let us know, audience at home, if Oldman's still echoing now. Go, Oldman, go.
Am I echoing? Yes, I am.
You sound fine to me. I don't know what's happening. Are you doing anything differently, Oldman, than you were doing last week?
Let's see if I'm still. No, I'm not doing anything different.
Same headphones, same plug-in, same everything.
I'm going to respond to your email. I'm going to do it on my smartphone.
You're going to respond to my email? What email?
The Citra invite.
I don't know what's happening. I've lost the narrative.
I have too.
What? What's happening, Oldman? I don't understand what you're saying. I can hear you fine, but you're still not making sense. Because one of us had a stroke. Okay. Anyways, so we've got lots of questions that we can get to as the night goes on. But if you'd like to submit a question, just as a reminder, you can see down there, JeremyInternational.com, and you can use the contact form. There's also a way that you can leave a tip there if you want to, although you don't have to. No one ever has. I kind of like that idea that no one's ever left a tip. While Oldman is trying to get their life together, let's go ahead and play some Jeopardy. You guys want to play some Jeopardy? Let's play some Jeopardy. Okay, Oldman says they're going to use their phone instead. I don't know. Jugsy says, I'm going audio only to do a bird call if something visual happens. Okay. Well, I guess the good news about this particular episode, Jugsy, is we are just mostly going to be playing Jeopardy. Oh, I have an idea. Hold on. Before we get to Jeopardy, I'm sorry, I'm eating a cookie. Shows a disaster already. This has really gone off the rails. Audio problems. I'm just eating for no reason in the middle of the show. Nobody knows what's going on. I'm a professional. You guys want to watch me eat? Is that what you're into? Totally cool if you are. No judgment. Let's go over my recent video game purchases, shall we? Let me know if you see a theme here. So I recently got 3 games. Doom Swoop. I'm eating a chocolate chip cookie, and it's fine. It's just from a store. It's just packaged chocolate chip cookies. So these are my recent video games. Let me know if you see a trend going on here. So we've already played Jeopardy on the NES, but this is the 25th anniversary edition of Jeopardy on the NES. So I got this. We'll check this out later too. I don't have my NES set up today. And then I got Jeopardy on the PlayStation. Maybe this will be better because there's analog sticks and the PlayStation's got real video and audio on it. So maybe we'll do this one next week. And then I got Jeopardy for the Super Nintendo. So we got lots of Jeopardy to play if that's what we decide to keep doing. If there's a game or a type of game that you're interested in seeing, let me know. And I might have it already. I got a lot of games. But if I don't, then that's cool too. And we can, maybe I can get it. Okay, so let's get into it. Here's the menu screen for my analog. Okay, that was some feedback, I'm assuming, from Oldman, so I turned that off. We'll give Oldman another shot in a little bit. But let's get into some Jeopardy, shall we? That's pretty good audio. That was pretty good audio. Amir says, man, this game was huge on old consoles and I never knew. I know, like, Jeopardy is on everything, and there's multiple versions. This is just regular Jeopardy on the Sega Genesis, but they had a sports-only Jeopardy, and they had a team Jeopardy. A whole bunch of Jeopardies on a Game Boy, too, and we'll probably get into those at some point also. At the moment, though, this is the totality of my Jeopardy video game collection. Okay. Man, that song is pretty good. Pretty good. So it's just me. We'll have 2 players from the computer. I like this guy. He looks like he maybe was like a Marine or something, and then he became an accountant. And I'm gonna go, my name's gonna be Germ. And yeah, Doom Swoop, let me tell you, on JeremyInternational.com, you can go back a couple months and you can see Jeopardy on the original Nintendo, and it looks rough. Phil Donahue looking ass. He does look like, if Phil Donahue was a Marine, he looks like he could be Phil Donahue. Press C when you're done. Okay, so you have to hit all 3 buttons at the same time. Unfortunate Flesh Golem. That's a great name. Old Man Echo was fine. Sounded like a wise old spirit. He'll be back. Oldman's got to figure out what the issue is, and we'll have Oldman back on in a minute. If we haven't heard from him by the time we get through first round of Jeopardy, then we'll take a little commercial break, and we'll go back and check on Oldman. I'm sure he'll be joining back with us. Audio, you know, is complicated, everybody. It's tricky. Mike and Jill. All right, here we go. Here we go. Wish me luck, everybody. Categories are actors and roles. I might be pretty good at that one. Foreign cuisine. That's relative. The 30s. Art, whatever that means. Dogs in literature. Sports stadiums. Ugh, you guys know I'm going to go with this because this is what we got. You guys know I'm not good at sports. Let's start off easy, and we will do actor roles. I don't just want to do 100 like a chump. Let's do 300. Actors and roles. Actor who stopped the show in Showboat with Old Man River. That is, I know this, that is Paul Robeson. But I'm just going to go for his last name, which I believe is spelled R-O-B. Robeson. The reason I know this is because I have a degree in theater and I've done quite a bit of musical theater in my life. And there we go. I nailed it. All right, let's keep going, guys. Let's keep going. 400. The blonde referred in the film Gentlemen Refer Blondes. That's Marilyn Monroe. But I think you can just do last names again. So I'm going to do Monroe. Am I spelling that right?
You are correct.
Yeah. Doom Swoop says clap. Thank you. Thank you, Doom Swoop. 500. Sam Shepard played this barrier breaker in The Right Stuff. Who broke the sound barrier? Yeager? Is it Chuck Yeager? I think. Yay. Probably.
You are correct.
So a little bit of background. I grew up in a very intensely Jeopardy family, and we're very competitive, only about Jeopardy and literally nothing else. So I was born in the Jeopardy. The 1990 hunt was on for the Soviet ship the Red October. Doom Swoop asked if I've ever tried out. I have not, but everyone I know keeps bugging me about it. And I really should one of these days. October. If you haven't seen, by the way, The Hunt for Red October ever or recently, you should check it out. It is a finely executed suspense action thriller movie, whatever. So good, and it's got Alec Baldwin in it when he was young, and he's beautiful, and it's just a wonderful movie. Highly recommend. All right, well, I'm about to sweep this category. Video in which Michael Jackson played a zombie and a werewolf. Well, duh, that's thriller. Jeez. I do feel like the computer-controlled contestants on this game take a little while to warm up, because in the past, when I played this particular version...
Sorry?
Oh, I screwed up. I was talking too much. I think I hit the wrong button. In the past, when I played this particular version of Jeopardy, I do really good the whole time, and then it falls apart. It falls apart at the end, and I always lose. So I think there must be some part of the program that gives you some time to show how good you are, and then they set the characters to play against you. In October 1939, DuPont bought out stockings made in this artificial fiber. Nylon? Nylon. How do you spell nylon?
You are correct.
Nylon. Where should we go now? Let's do art. I know a little bit about art. I know some art. Thank you, Unfortunate Flesh Golem. Yes, nylon, I got it. Thank you. There is a little bit of a delay. American painter famous for scenes of the sea rule America in the Civil War. Oh man, I don't know. I'm not even going to try for this one. So what you're hearing, it's probably been 10 to 15 seconds or so. Homer.
You are correct.
Good job, Mike. Sherlock Holmes solved the mystery of the devilish hound of this family, Baskerville. I went through a a little bit of a Sherlock Holmes phase as a young child. Basker. No idea if I'm spelling this right, but sometimes if you get it close enough.
Sorry.
No, I didn't spell it close enough. It's the Hound of the Baskervilles. Did I not? Is it because I didn't get the S? I think it's probably because I didn't get the S. Yeah, I didn't do the S.
You are correct.
Let's take a little break. Can I pause? I guess not. Toto. It was Toto. Toto did it. I'm not sure I can take a break just yet. So we'll power through until we get to the part where we can take a break. And then we will check in on Oldman.
You are correct.
Oh man, Unfortunate Flesh Golem, you're talking about Bunnicula. Man, I love those Bunnicula books. I have a daughter who's 3, and I don't know, another 2 or 3 years, she's probably going to be ready for those books. Love the Celery Stalks at Midnight. Man, I loved those books when I was a kid. I haven't thought about Bunnicula in a long time. Is a chicken. It's chicken. It's chicken. Chicken. Chicken.
You are correct.
I'm surprised Doomswoop, the auto sensor on this is, can I not pause? I can't pause. Is a little aggressive. I'm surprised that didn't block that one. The British variety is called bangers, and Mexican variety is called chorizo. That's sausage. Sausage. S-A-U? Right? Sage.
You are correct.
Yeah, Doomswoop's really pushing that. Oh wait, was that Arrested Development? You know, I've seen Arrested Development. I think if I haven't seen every episode of that show, I've seen most of it. That show's funny at times. I think it's a little overrated. That is a oh my god, is a Blintz. A Blintz. What is a Blintz? I almost didn't get that. Could you imagine how embarrassing that would be for me and my family if I didn't get it? Is this how you spell Blintz? I don't know. Probably not.
You are correct.
Hey, I got it. Finally, my skill of spelling relatively common words has a chance to shine. Yeah, any help I can get from anyone, Unfortunate Flesh Golem, I'd appreciate it. My spelling is totally horrible. I have no excuse except Daily Double. Your mama's chorizo. Hi, your mama's chorizo. Thanks for joining the chat. First time chatter. How much you wanna? I don't want to go too much because I screwed up big time last time we played this particular version of Jeopardy. Let's do. I'm gonna just gamble half. Foreign cuisine. A toothsome cut of beef served to a toothsome and named for a French nobleman. What? A toothsome cut of beef served to a toothsome and a name for a French nobleman. Toothsome cut of beef. Toothsome? What does that mean? Served to a toothsome and name for a French nobleman. A French sounding filet mignon? Do I even have time to put that in? I don't think that's what it is. How do you even mignon? I don't know how to spell it.
Sorry. You know the correct response?
No, I've never heard of that before in my entire life. No idea what that is. I screwed up. That was a big miss on Jeremy International's part, everybody. Let's wrap up this. A stew of various meats or a Jeopardy category. Stew of various... No idea.
Hello.
Oh, are we back? Are we back?
As best I can do it.
Let me know, everybody. Welcome back, Oldman. I was trying to pause so we could check in on you. Let me know, everyone, if Oldman still has an echo.
You are correct.
Good job. Who put that in there? Doom Swoop did. Well done, Doom Swoop. The Mrs. Putnam who disappeared over the Pacific in 1937. That's Amelia Earhart. Air. Spelled just like it sounds. Heart. Isn't it spelled just like it sounds?
No. But they accepted it.
Is that not how you spell? I have no idea. Let's stick with the 30s. Why not? The British actress who won an Oscar for her role in 1939's Best Picture. I'm not going to try to guess that. 1939's Best Picture. British. British. 1939. Vivian Lee.
You are correct.
Wow. Isn't that someone's mom? The house that Ruth built. That's Yankee Stadium. Isn't it? I don't know anything about sports. I think that's Yankee Stadium. I think it is hard enough that I'm gonna risk it. Nope. How do I go back? Stadium.
You are correct.
Yeah. Doom Swoop says Jill is boomer AF. That's true. She probably knows a lot about sports stadiums because she thinks they're good for local economies. The band leader of Baker's Broadcast. He married co-star Harriet Hillard. I'm not gonna... No. No idea. Ozzie Nelson.
You are correct.
Wow. Jill knows because she was there because she's 110 years old. Boston's Green Monster is this stadium. I don't know. Do you know this one, Oldman? Do you know?
Is it the McDonald's?
McDonald's what? Fenway is Fenway because that's in Boston.
You are correct.
I knew that once I knew it, you know?
I don't understand why I'm still echoing.
I'm not seeing anything. First, I'm giving up on this. I'm not seeing any doubling on my...
Sorry.
I'm not seeing any doubling on my end. I don't know. We're almost done with first round of Jeopardy, and when we're done, we're going to take a little break, and we'll do some questions. We got some questions to read. Amir's asking Oldman if maybe you're using a wireless headset that could be getting some like Bluetooth interference or something. Jill's kicking my butt though. A painting of inanimate objects, not people. A still life. I'm sorry that I'm not pay more attention to your audio problems, but I'm in the Jeopardy zone right now.
You're in the zone.
I know.
If nobody else can hear this echo,
You are correct.
I'm
I can't
fine with
hear
it,
it at all.
but it's gonna make it hard to talk, I suppose.
The musical Sunday in the Park with George was based on a painting by this French artist. I'm not going to risk it. I'm not confident enough. I'm already behind. George.
You are correct.
Wow, Jill. Doomsuit says it's not a terrible echo we can manage. The Chicago Cubs can now go out and play at night here. I don't know that one. See, this is why I don't audition for Jeopardy, is because sports, I'm useless. I don't know anything. I literally know nothing about sports.
You are correct.
Nothing. I'm going to catch up to Jill, though. You wait and see. On March 3rd, 1931, this president made the Star Spangled Banner our national anthem. 1931, was that
Hoover.
Hoover? Yeah, I think it's Hoover. I was getting ready to say Coolidge. I always get them confused. But it's Hoover, you're right.
You are correct.
Thanks, Oldman, for the point me in the right direction on that one. Let's go to dogs in literature. In this book, Nick Charles Asta is a Schnauzer, but in films it was a wire-haired terrier. I don't know the answer to that, unfortunate flesh golem. How do Jeopardy pros train? I think they have books. I watch a lot of Jeopardy. Gary Owen is the bloody mangy mongrel in this Cyclops episode of this James Joyce novel. I can make guesses about that too, but I'm not confident enough. I don't want to lose any money at this point. Ulysses probably. Yeah.
You are correct.
Look at the big brain on Jill.
Nobody talks about Finnegan's Wake.
The overly ornate style which succeeded mannerism is preceded Rococo. Is that Art Nouveau? Isn't that what that is? Nouveau. How do you spell nouveau? That doesn't.
That's N-O-U.
U. Then V.
Yes.
Then O-U-X.
There's probably several ways.
That's not it.
Sorry.
That's not it. Doom Swoop had it, but I didn't look in time. I was focused on typing poorly. You know, good news on Real Jeopardy, you only have to write for Final Jeopardy. It's the only time you have to write anything out. Baroque. I don't think that's right. Really? Well, Jill is more than double ahead of me now, but I can still catch up. Belgian surrealist with a penchant for painting bowler hats. It's not ringing a bell to me. Not ringing a bell. That works, Oldman, if you want to put it in the chat. But the echo doesn't seem to be bothering anybody. Man, Jill. Mike isn't even trying. Mike's given up. Ann Arbor School that has the largest U.S. college stadium. Is it University of Michigan? I'm just going to say Michigan. Michigan.
You are correct.
Yeah, I needed that $500. All right, well, dogs in literature for 500. Breed of John Steinbeck's Charlie in Travels with Charlie. I don't know. I haven't read a lot of Steinbeck. I did the one about the mice and the men and such, but that's about it. No, I did Grapes of Wrath. A poodle. Wow, Mike. Randomly knowing poodles. Okay, can I pause now? I need to take a break. I need to take a break. How do we pause? All right, well, let's look at the categories, and then maybe we can pause from there. Historic names. All right, maybe. Proverbs, hit or miss. Beauty shop. I don't know what that means. U.S. states, maybe. KK. Parks. Can we leave it like this? Let's see what happens if we leave it like this. Okay, old man, let's talk. You back? Can you hear me?
I turned off.
If it was about KK Slater, I'd do a good job. Oh, what was that, old man?
I turned off my microphone.
Okay. Can you want to do a question? Amir says not being able to pause would make an immersive console experience. I think I can just not pick anything and I'm okay. So I got some questions. A few of them have come in directly from the website over the last week. And some I've just stolen from the internet. And I'm going to start with this one. This is not a new topic for us on the advice stream, but we're going to talk about it anyways because I think it's an important one. And we can discuss as a group. I will give a content disclaimer here that we acknowledge the existence of sex and therefore sexually transmitted diseases on the advice stream. And I should do a little plug here. This is the advice stream. I'm your host, Jeremy International. We are live on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. If you'd like to seek advice from me, your friend Jeremy International, as well as the community in the chat, we all talk about it together. You can head on over to JeremyInternational.com and submit a question there. I am joined, as I have been for the last many weeks, by my friend and yours, Oldman. Oldman seems to be having some microphonial problems. So you can share verbally as much as you want, Oldman, but if you aren't feeling up for it and you want to stay in the chat, that is your journey. That is up to you. I get that audio problems can be tricky and a little challenging to overcome. We don't have a good idea as to why. You haven't had any audio problems in the last several weeks, so I don't know what's going on. But at least from the audio... I didn't change a thing. Okay. Well, at least from the audio on my end, it looks fine. It's very strange. Is there anything
Jeremy?
else? Yeah.
Can I try to restart my PC one more time? Oh my god, I cannot.
I think
I can't say the same thing.
The echo's bothering him more than it's anybody else. Yeah,
it's because I can't say a statement without like a half second. It makes me sound like I'm really wasted, but I can't talk to it. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You sound fine to me. You sound fine. I hear no echo. You sound like $1,000,000.
Oh my gosh. I think I better rely on the chat for this episode.
I'm going to keep you on camera unless you want me to take you off camera. It's up to you.
No, keep me on camera. Why not?
Okay. All right. So here's our first question from the evening. Wow, we're 40 minutes in and we're just getting to the first question. That Jeopardy really sucked me in there. Okay, here we go. So I met a girl that I really like. I've been on 3 dates with her. Today, I think she was expecting us to have sex. That's usually what happens on the 3rd date, in my opinion. Today was, I think she was expecting us to have sex later on. So she sort of sat me down to tell me that she had a phase of sleeping around and had slept with 15 guys in 9 months, ending about a year ago. And in that time, she contracted herpes. I don't know what to do. I was raised in a very conservative household, parentheses Christian. And although I'm not like my parents, I do hold similar values. I've only slept with one long-term girlfriend before. I can get over the fact she slept around. I like her so much otherwise. But the herpes thing bothers me. I thanked her for being honest, but said I wasn't hoping for sex tonight anyway, which I wasn't. And she was clearly a bit upset and politely said, I need to think about it. Has anyone got any advice? My thoughts are mixed. In one way, I may well never catch it, and I'd be missing out on a nice girl. But I'm also thinking if I did catch it and we didn't work out, I'd have to tell future partners, which I would really hate. Plus, I'm not sure if it would eat away at me a bit at a time. So feel free to share your thoughts on that, everybody. Jugsy says, this is the reason I'm so impressed by stadium presenters. Talking while hearing yourself is so hard. I was once interviewed in a stadium and didn't really manage to speak English at all. Yeah, I have this one of the reasons I prefer not to use microphones when I'm live in front of people is because when you hear yourself, it throws yourself off. But if you're in a really, really big space, sometimes you have to. But if you know how to project from your diaphragm, you don't have to use a microphone as often as you might think. All right, so getting back to this question. So the letter writer met this girl. They like them. The letter writer isn't clear what their gender is. It doesn't matter. They met this girl. They really like them a lot. They've had 3 dates. And on the 3rd date that she sat this person down and said, you need to know that a year ago, I had a phase of sleeping around and I slept with 15 guys in 9 months. It's not that many. And in that process got herpes. So we've talked about herpes a bit on this show before. And this is the part that I want to really emphasize on. I believe in this very strongly. If you're over 30 and you don't have herpes, you are doing something wrong. You're playing it too safe. Just get herpes. Everybody's got herpes. Herpes is all over the place. No one doesn't have herpes. Being scared of getting herpes, being embarrassed or mortified or concerned if you get it is silly. It's all over. You're getting herpes is like getting a broken heart. It's the price of admission to being a person that dates and looks for love or looks for sex or looks for some kind of physical connection between other people. It happens. And it's unavoidable, I would say. And I'm not saying you should go deliberately try to contract herpes. But if you're doing it the right way, you're gonna get it sooner or later. And being stressed out about it, trying to being stressed out about avoiding it, being stressed out about if, and I'm really saying when, you get it is silly. Herpes is nothing. Herpes is all over. Everybody's got herpes. If you're cool with her sleeping around, and I hope that you are, because it's the 90s, man. That's how people do these days. If you're cool with that, then if you like this girl, just, it's unlikely you'll get it if she's not having an outbreak. But sometimes, most of the time, people are right on the cusp of having an outbreak and become contagious right before they realize that they're having an outbreak. And that's usually when you get it. It doesn't say if this person has upstairs herpes or downstairs herpes. One thing to keep in mind is you can't, those are 2 totally different things. You can't get downstairs herpes on your upstairs, and you can't get upstairs herpes on your downstairs. That's not how it works. They're separate and they stay separate. But that's what happens, man. Deal with it. Doom Swoop says, oh, hold on, we got a bunch of comments here. Jugsy says, oh wait, we read Jugsy's comment already. Oldman says, can't do it. Sorry, haven't had the problem before. Sorry, we can just cuddle. Share a cook. Doom Swoop says, I kind of stopped messing with the girl after she got it from SW. Oh, okay. It's really not a big deal, and I missed out on a ton of fun. Yep. There's an IG account. Unfortunate Flesh Golem says there is an IG account about this, and it's cute and understanding with some advice and a couple's experience. Oldman says you can get both. You can definitely get downstairs and upstairs herpes, but they are different, and one doesn't turn into the other. Just to keep that in mind. Yeah, but I mean, the thing to me that's standing out here a lot is the letter writer says that they were raised in a conservative Christian household, and even though they're not like their parents, they do hold similar values. And I'd like to know. I mean, I don't. It doesn't work that way to talk to the letter writer, but if they were here and I could have a real conversation with them, I'd ask them what exactly are those similar values, because there's a mindset that things happen, bad things happen to people because they deserve it, because they earned it in some way. And if you think about herpes as a bad thing, and it's not a good thing, but as far as bad things go, it's not particularly bad. Then maybe you're thinking that this is somehow punishment for her sleeping around, and that would be an unfortunate mindset to have in this situation, especially if it's someone you care about. So, unfortunate flesh goblin says, but practice safe sex and assume some risk. Absolutely practice safe sex, because there are way worse things than herpes out there, and you don't want to get those. Herpes is a hard thing to avoid if you are not even sexually, but just like a making out active person. But then things like chlamydia and gonorrhea, which are way more serious and scary, are totally avoidable. HPV, kids these days get vaccinated. They didn't have that vaccine when I was a kid, but people get vaccinated for that these days. You should do that too. And having an unexpected kid in a country that is trying to strip away women's right to bodily autonomy is another terrifying thing to consider for people. So be safe, be honest, educate yourself, and get herpes, man, because that's what happens, and you should not be so stressed about it. Oldman says herpes isn't karma, it's just age. Fred Undead, hey Fred Undead, says you can get HSV2 on your mouth and HSV1 on your downstairs, but they're different strains. And we were talking about that. Fred Undead, and I know a lot about that. And Doomswoop has a really good point. Doomswoop says it's not as bad as harpies, which is definitely true. The half bird, half women from Greek mythology are way scarier than getting a little bump on your area from time to time, which, and as time goes by, you get them less and less. And then as long as you don't have some other health issues going on, you get to the point where you almost never get the bumps. But harpies, man, are serious business. Just ask, who did the harpies attack? What was it, like Pericles, Odysseus, Agamemnon, one of those guys. Fred Undead says, everyone in Europe has cold sores and nobody bats an eye. USA is super weird about it. Oldman says, take a bump, get a bump. Yeah, I know. Sometimes you do a bump, and that leads to the activity that gives you the bumps, if you know what I mean. Maybe that's how I got my bumps. I don't know. All right, that was fun, everybody. Just to paraphrase though, if you're over 30 and you don't have herpes, you're playing it safe. Go out, live your life. Herpes is price of admission. It's just like getting your heart broken. It's just like, getting mud on the bottom of your shoes. You going outside, those things tend to happen. Jugsy says 75% of adults in Australia. I looked it up. I wonder can someone look up that percentage in the United States? It's got to be about the same. I feel like it's pretty universal. And that 25%, Jugsy, of adults in Australia that don't have it are probably people that live in the middle of nowhere, or like priests, or like people that have lives of celibacy or something. Doomsoup says, can't worry about the herp, but be sure to get that HPV vaccine. Yeah, the thing with HPV is you got to do that when you're before you become sexually active. So they give that to younger folks to protect them from that. But old people like me, that vaccine didn't exist before I became a sexually active person. So that wasn't an option. That wasn't an option for me. Okay. Let's do... I don't know what KK means. Let's do KK for 200. We'll find out. In the film Miracle on 34th Street, Santa Claus used this alias. Kris Kringle. Why do I know that? But it's with a K. Ugh. I've never seen this movie. I don't know anything about it, but I know that people call Santa Claus Kris. How do you spell Kris Kringle? K-R... Kringle? L-E? Probably?
You are correct.
Yeah, I know about Santa Claus. Kringle Bingle, Doom Swoop. Okay, let's do KK for 400. I get it now. It's names or words with KK. Founder of the Mongol dynasty who ruled from the Black Sea to the Yellow Sea. Kublai Khan. Oh my god, how do you spell that though? Kubla? That's almost, this is almost certainly not right, everybody. Oh, thank you. Hold on, I gotta clear it out to spell it the right way. Oldman's got me, I just gotta be fast. Kubla. Boy. Really? Oh my god, time. Man, I wish I could use a keyboard. Kublai Khan. It counts if I know it.
You are correct.
Because on Real Jeopardy, I just push the button and say it out loud. I wouldn't have to write it out. So getting help with spelling isn't cheating. They kept Law and Disorder in Mac Sennett comedies. It was like a bunch of like slapsticky police officers. What were they called? Not XXX. Mike. Come on, Mike. Do better. The Keystone Cops. Keystone Cops. I think I can spell that. I'm assuming that Keystone is one word. But cops with a K? It has to be, right?
You are correct.
Doom Swoop got it. Doom Swoop gets me. Critics said he never got any close-ups as Barbra Streisand's co-star in A Star Is Born. Chris Christopherson. I didn't know they never got any Chris. Man, Christopherson is it, I'm assuming like this. Christoph. Oh my god. Why is your name so long, Chris Christopherson? I have no idea. Probably.
Sorry.
That's what it is. I spelled it wrong. Thanks, Oldman, for spelling it right. I didn't see it in time. Your poor dog, Doom Swoop, farting and scaring himself. Farts can be scary. That's obviously how you spell Christopherson, Mike. Still losing. 40s band leader who led the College of Musical Knowledge. Oldman says Fartman. K. Kaiser.
You are correct.
Jill. I'm never going to catch up to Jill. If you ask for it in a beauty shop, you'll get a foam used in hairstyle, not a mousse. It was the 90s. People use mousse all the time, and mousse was very big. But it's spelled like the food, which is... Oldman's typing it in before I even have a chance to try to figure out how to spell it, which I appreciate. Mousse.
You are correct.
Jill's eating my lunch, though. Let's do historic names. Lionel Barrymore, Christopher Lee, and Tom Baker have all played this mad monk on film. Rasputin. Man, Christopher Lee, I've never seen whatever movie Christopher Lee was in where he played Rasputin, but I would like to see that movie because Christopher Lee's great. Was great. R.I.P. Rasputin.
You are correct.
Yeah, I think, old man, I think Lionel Barrymore was Drew Barrymore's, like, grandfather, maybe? That's a good guess, Jugsy. Maybe Oldman's computer is a built-in mic that isn't disabled when his headphones are plugged in, maybe? Empress Sophie the Great didn't sound right, so she changed her name to this in 1762. Oh, it's Catherine the Great, yes.
You are correct.
Yeah, Oldman, next time we should go back to meeting a little before we go live so we can test things out. The problem is I don't hear the echo. This Boston park where young Ben Franklin grazed the family cow is America's oldest. I don't know. I don't know a lot about Boston. I've only been there a couple times. It was a long time ago. Boston Commons.
You are correct.
Boston Market. Term for lightening hair or whitening clothes. Bleach.
Sorry.
Wait, no? Did I spell it wrong? I probably spelled it wrong. Oh, come on.
You are correct.
That was close enough. That's unfair. I got robbed. Daily double. Baseball's first ever All-Star game was played in 1933 in this Chicago stadium. Oh man, now I'm last. Jugsy, never once, so no one looks at my butthole. I'm gonna allow that. The auto mod blocked that out because it says butthole.
You are correct.
Oh man, did Mike just get 2 daily doubles in a row? Now I see. I told you guys they start slow. State that's completely surrounded by water. Hawaii. Hawaii came up as a answer in the last one we played too. Hawaii.
You are correct.
That's true, old man. Captain Cisco was the very last fan of baseball. No one cared about it after him. Let's go back to historic names. I gotta focus here. The lady with the lamp. It's the woman that they said burned down, that started the Chicago fire or something. I don't know what her name was. It was an Irish name.
Sorry.
Florence Nightingale? Oh, I was wrong.
You are correct.
Jill. Cut me some slack, Jill. Good one, unfortunate flesh golem. Yes, it was. Tantalizing term for back combing hair. I don't know what that means.
Sorry.
No idea what that means. Maybe Doom Swoop. Teasing. Yeah, tantalizing. That makes sense. Man, Jill's killing it. Spanish for mask, though, it emphasizes rather than hides eyes. Mascara? Oh my god, someone help me. How do you spell mascara? Quick, quick, quick. Thanks, Oldman. Because Oldman is maybe hearing this live without a delay, that it's probably throwing people off to hear him put in answers before they read the question.
You are correct.
Yeah, I did it. Not last anymore. Suck it, Mike. Historic names, 800. This is the big numbers is where I'm going to make or break it. The great violin maker's first name was Antonio, and his last name didn't originally end with a Stradivarius. Strata. Ver. Us? Stradivarius.
Sorry.
Ah. It is Stradivarius.
Sorry.
It's Strad and not T, like he's not from the stars. He's not from space. Strata. It's Stradi. Mike. The Wolverine state in 1847, it became the first to abolish capital punishment. The Wolverine state, somewhere in like just below Canada. I can't risk it. I don't know. I'm hurting. Didn't we already do Michigan?
You are correct.
Michigan came up twice in the same game? That seems unfair. His dime novels made Buffalo Bill legendary. I don't know how to answer that one either. I feel like I need another bourbon. It's going downhill for Jeremy International.
Sorry.
Whew. We got a few more questions to get to, though. We'll do that shortly. For those that are joining in, today's episode of the Advice Stream is unofficially brought to you by apples. Go get an apple. They're good for you. And
Know the correct response?
never heard of them. This region, originally called Indian Territory, now has no federal reservations. Yeah, next week Jill's going to run the show, Amir. Thank you for making me feel good about that. Oklahoma.
You are correct.
This is less fun now. I'm having less fun. A manicure for the feet. A pedicure. I know that. I'm not dumb. But I don't know if I can spell it. P-E-D-I pedicure. C-U-R-E. That looks right.
correct.
Ew, unfortunate flesh golem. That's gross. Amir, it should be called a photocure. I agree. I got one right finally. Let's do. We didn't do a lot of proverbs. Let's do proverbs for 400. As you made your bed, so must you do that sleep in it. I gotta write all that out. Sleep. In it.
Sorry.
What? You made your bed, now you have to sleep in it. Everyone says that, right? How could it be anything else? Lie in it? No, no one says that. It's sleep in it.
You are correct.
Jill, what's going on? Did I just switch from an alternate dimension where people say lie in your bed and now you have to sleep in it? Al Pacino's first starring role dealt with panic in blank, a New York City park nicknamed this.
You are correct.
Kind of just want to give up, but I'm not gonna. We're gonna stick it out. We're gonna run this to the end. Francis Bacon said, "If the mountain will not come to him, he will go to the mountain." I've heard that before. Muhammad, that's right. I've heard people say that. I'm sucking so bad. This western neighbor of Tennessee and Mississippi has the only diamond field in the U.S. Western to Tennessee and Mississippi. Arkansas? Yeah, I think that's right.
You are correct.
Chill. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Gander, gander. Gander. Better GD give me this one, Alex. Gander.
You are correct.
Finally. A bad workman quarrels with these. No idea. Does anyone know what that is? A bad workman quarrels with these. His tools.
You are correct.
Oh, well, I mean, it's wise. I've never heard anyone say it before in my entire life, but it's wise. Thanks, Oldman. I didn't know. Midwest state whose native sons include Marlon Brando, Nick Nolte, and Henry Fonda. Well, those are all Kansas. It's Kansas. I didn't get it in time. I think it's Kansas. I'm pretty sure it's Kansas.
Sorry.
I'm going to go for it. I got nothing to lose except for the whole GD game. I think they're all from Kansas. Crazy Town, USA. Kansas. Pretty sure they're from Kansas.
Sorry.
Oh. Well, there goes the game, everybody. We're gonna, maybe I can pull it off. Maybe everyone gets Final Jeopardy wrong and I get it right and I bet everything and I win. Nebraska, that's what I said.
You are correct.
Mike looks like he's probably from Nebraska. No offense to people from Nebraska. People voice opinions on everything in London Speaker's Corner in this park. Is it Hyde Park, right? Hyde Park. With a Y, I'm assuming.
You are correct.
Yeah. Catching up at least to Mike. Here we go. Last one. In 1962, Freddie Cannon had a hit about this now defunct New Jersey amusement park. I don't have no idea. Palisades Park, never
You
heard
are
of it.
correct.
Mike, well, there goes that Mike who's been in the negative for almost the entire game is now in the lead. All right, what is the category? The final category is the Bible. So I know a little bit about the Bible. I'm just gonna go for it, guys. I'm gonna bet everything. I'm just gonna do it. Why not? The people of Lystra believed he and Barnabas were the gods Mercury and Jupiter. This isn't the part of the Bible that I know. Paul? Let's say Paul. Paul, like, traveled and went around and stuff, right? Didn't he, like, go around? Jill, what you got, Jill? Jill got it wrong. Did she bet anything? It goes too fast. I don't know what's going on. I got it right. Now, does that mean I... Yeah! I won. Wait, no, I didn't. But Jill got it wrong. Did everyone get it right? I'm confused. I don't know what just happened. That last bit of text. Well, I got it right. I got a New Testament question right. I think that counts. That counts for something. Oh man, that was exhausting. At least I got it right. I hate Jill too. In all likelihood, just judging from her appearance, the age that Jill was in 1992, she's probably dead by now. So we don't have to worry about her, at least. R.I.P. Jill. Doomsoup says, Mike and Jill are morally bankrupt, so you win. Yeah, I know, Amir. I'm more than anything, I'm proud of Mike. He was far behind the entire time. But he managed to pull it off. So I can't help but be happy for him. That's the kind of person that I am. Everybody loses sooner or later. Okay, well, I don't know if I got another one of those in me, but I think we probably have some more questions somewhere. Hold on. Ignore the person behind the curtain for just a minute. Here we go. Where did my questions go? I hope that Mike took all of that money and in 1992 bought Apple stock with it, and then now he would be a billionaire. I hope that's what Mike did. All right, so we've only really done one question tonight. Jeopardy does that to you. Okay. Here's one. This is a tricky one, but I think it's interesting. Let's see if we can come up to some kind of consensus as a group on this one. Over 30 years ago, I was disfellowshipped. I've never heard that word before. From the religion in which my parents raised me, and they have barely spoken to me since 30 years ago. I did attend my father's funeral 10 years ago in Florida, where they reside, but no one in the congregation, including my mother, engaged with me. The church elders recently contacted me. I live in the Northwest. They told me that my mother could no longer live by herself and that it is my responsibility, not theirs, to either quit my full-time job, presumably leave my husband and family behind, and move into her home to care for her, or to relocate her into my home. Apparently, she absolutely refuses to move into assisted living. How do I respond to this directive? I don't even know my mother anymore, have never had a good relationship with her, and she won't speak to me or her only now grown grandchildren. So 30 years ago, the letter writer got kicked out of their church. By the way, this is a question that came from the internet. This is not an audience member. I don't think this age demographic is watching video games. People play video games on Twitch. I could be wrong. But I saw this one, and I just think it proposes a a complicated and interesting moral dilemma. But I mean, to me, I guess it's not really even that much of a dilemma. Um, Doom Swoop says, sounds like the church's problem. I agree with that. Fred Undead says, ma'am, come on. And Oldman says, there are lots of cults still around and some of them are powerful. That's true. I mean, this person isn't your mom anymore. It's been 30 years. That's a lifetime of no contact with you. You owe this person nothing. She gave up being your mom a long time ago. I don't know how old the letter writer was when this happened, but if they have only now grown children, then I'd imagine that they were pretty young 30 years ago. And so yeah, it seems pretty clear cut to me. You don't need to do anything. This community encouraged, maybe even insisted, that your mom not have a relationship with you anymore. So you're done. I think it's this is a thing that comes up on the show a lot too. I think cultures kind of fall somewhere in a spectrum. On one end, you have familial obligation, and on the other end, you have self-actualization. And you don't want to be too far on either end of that continuum. But you need to find a balance. We do have responsibilities to our family, but we also have responsibilities to ourselves to do what we can to be happy and try to achieve the best and happiest version of ourselves. And you have to find somewhere in between that works for you, but also allows you to be a moral person. This is such an extreme case of self-actualization over familial obligation. This woman was your mother and she hasn't talked to you in 30 years. She ignored you at your father's funeral. That I mean, I come from very much a familial obligation culture. It's really hard for me to not drop everything in my personal life for the people in my family. This is what I'll easily say here, though. This is not that case. You don't owe this person, you don't owe this woman anything. She doesn't want to be your mother. She doesn't want to have anything to do with you. And now at this stage, when she needs help, she's chosen her religious community over you. So her religious community has that obligation. You don't. I think it's really easy. You don't even need to reply to their emails or their phone calls or anything. Oldman says actions speak louder than words. Yeah, she chose this community to join over her family. And now that community is her family, and it is their responsibility to care for her. I mean, I can imagine, I'm reading in between the lines here, I can imagine that she's probably given them a significant amount of money over the years. So what did they do with that money? The religious leader, the leader of that community, probably bought a private jet or something. But now it's time for them to take care of her. And if they don't, and she, I don't know, is in a bad situation and has to, I mean, I don't know what the worst case scenario is. She's like living on the streets or something. I mean, that's a choice that she's made to not rely on her family. But this isn't your moral obligation anymore. It hasn't been for a long time. If it was 5 years, if it was 10 years, maybe, but 30 years is a long time. And she didn't want to have anything to do with you. You have no obligation here. I think it's pretty straightforward. They'll figure it out. They'll take care of her. They'll have to find a way for that to happen. She made that choice. It's sad. It's so interesting. I read a lot of these kind of online advice columns. That's a big part of what my internet time is dedicated to. And you see so many of these questions of Ullman says, after 30 years, you're strangers. Yeah, you don't know who she is. She doesn't know who you are. You're absolutely strangers. There's so many questions where it's like an older person, like a boomer, is writing in saying, I haven't talked to my kids in decades. They don't want to have anything to do with me. And they're ingrates, and I want to write them out of my will or something. How do I do that is oftentimes the question. And they never acknowledge or mention they're not interested in discussing what did you do to make your kids not want to be part of you, part of your life. They're just like, yeah, they don't, it was a misunderstanding or whatever, and they don't want to have anything to do with me anymore. And it's so clear from that they did something horrible that they refuse to acknowledge that they did. They refuse to apologize or try to fix. And their kids broke off contact. And I think that's, it's not something anyone should do lightly, but I think that's something that's reasonable to do. Unfortunate. Excuse me. Unfortunate Flesh Golem says, funny because my gut reaction says to reach out to her and offer, but your advice reminds me of how many times that's really not been the best option. Yeah, I mean, especially in this day and age, a lot of these religious communities, I guess part of the context, one of the things that we need to know that's not in the letter is what happened? How did you get kicked out of this religious organization? Are they queer? Are they LGBT? Did they, it's not even that they made a choice, but are they a type of person that this community refuses to accept? Like, I think that would be helpful, at least in me knowing how much I should be outraged by this. Normie Husband says it's a polycule cult. I don't know. That sounds like the type of cult that I'm fine with. It's so easy to use the word cult, but so many of these religious communities really present themselves as being mainstream, some sort of mainstream religion. And people don't realize what's happening until, they've given them all of their money and they have nothing that's their own anymore. It's terrible. This reminds me, though, and I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but I'm gonna go off on another hopefully brief rant here for a minute. This is something I've been thinking about a lot. This is my new kind of philosophy on the world and people. Human beings when human beings have to decide how they're going to interact with another person, whether it's a family member or a stranger or whoever, they're pulled between two impulses. One is to help people that you feel like are like you, and the other is to hurt people that you feel are different from you. It's instinct. This is how we've evolved. Help people that feel like they're like us, and push away or sometimes even directly harm people that we feel like are different. Well, I'm sure that all of you watching at home, and hopefully lots of people, not as many as we would hope, have a really broad definition of what like us means. I strive to react to that like us to be every human being in the world that I encounter or that I hear about even. I don't always strive at that. I don't always succeed at that, but I strive for that. I'd like someday to get to the point where I really feel like that about every living thing that I encounter. That's a long way for me to evolve before I could get there, but that'd be a nice goal to have someday. But some people have very, very narrow definitions of what like us means. People that look just like you or believe or worship or talk or whatever just like you. But hopefully more people have a broader sense of that. When people are faced with a choice they have to make about how to interact with another person, what to do, they're not really thinking it through. They're following these really strong, deep-seated animal instincts. Help people that are like me, hurt people that are different than me. It's not something people think about. It's an instinct. People just do it. But people don't like to live their lives thinking that they're being affected by instinct. They want to have some kind of higher intellectual purpose for why they do things. So all isms, all political philosophies, religious philosophies, moral philosophies, economic philosophies are all the same. They're all essentially excuses. They're red herrings. They're things that people make up to justify that instinctive reaction that people have. And it doesn't matter, people, whatever people's religious convictions or political convictions are, it's all a lie. People are just reacting in this instinctive way. Help people that are like me, hurt people that are different than me. And then they try to come up with some moral or intellectual framework for why they're doing what they're doing, but really the reason why is instinct. If we want to have a more inclusive, a more just, a more sustainable culture, you can't get that by convincing people to believe in your particular collection of isms, because it doesn't matter. The isms are all window dressing. The only thing we can do to build a better society is to open up people's definition of what like me means. The broader that can be, the more just, the more equitable, the more sustainable and peaceful the world can be. And there's no point in trying to convince people of, I read this book where this guy from 200 years ago said that we should all get along and be at peace with each other. A guy from 2,000 years ago said it, or a guy from 20 years ago said it. That's all nonsense. It doesn't matter. The only thing we can do is to try to get people to broaden what their definition of like me means. And the broader that is, the better off we'll all be. Because the religion, the politics, the economics, the morality is all baloney. It's all bullshit. That's my take. Ullman says, if you start to empathize with roaches, you're on the right path. Working class. There's no one that works harder than roaches. They're the most working class animal in the world because they just... Well, that's not true. It's the ants and the bees. But anyways, that's my take. When people say that, that a person's like that because that's their religious beliefs or whatever, that's not an excuse. It's not a reason. It's just, it's a frame that people have put what they already wanted to do in, so it sounds like they have a reason for acting that way. When in reality, the reason is instinct. We're all a bunch of apes deep down inside. We don't have a lot of control over that. Man, old man, you not having a microphone's rough. I am doing a lot of talking. I'm doing a lot of talking today. I mean, say something. Say something. Okay. If you say so. I don't want to play Jeopardy again. Because if I start a game now, it's going to be going late. And I think my brain's tired from that. Let's do one last question. And then maybe we'll wrap it up a little early. My little rant there dropped down our view count by a couple of points. So if I haven't said already, this episode of the Advice Stream is unofficially brought to you by apples. If you got a tummy ache, eat an apple. It'll probably make you feel better. Applesauce doesn't count. Okay, here's one. This is one that I think Fred Undead sent me from the Am I the Asshole on Reddit or something like that. But this is bonkers. I don't know if this is real or not. But here it goes. I honestly can't believe I'm asking this, but my boyfriend has gotten so mad that I'm feeling a little crazy now. Both 34, he had a terrible marriage before me that ended in a dead bedroom, and he's determined to never go back to that life again. Understood, I think that sucked for him to experience. So now he wants a prenup, and literally write in the prenup that we will have sex X amount of times a week, or else I get absolutely nothing in the divorce. I had already agreed to a 50-50 prenup of our marital assets, and he kept what we came into the marriage with. Now, that's not enough for him. He wants me to prove, quotes here, prove that I won't stop having sex with him in the future. I tell him I can't prove the future, and putting something in writing doesn't prove that. Now he says I must have a guilty conscience if I won't sign these terms, because if I'm so certain it won't happen, then what's the problem? But to me, it makes me feel like a sex slave and not a loved wife or partner. Yeah, that's my first thought too, Doomswoop. Doomswoop says not enforceable. I can't imagine that this would hold up in a divorce court. Oldman also says that it's illegal. Counter with the therapy clause. That's a good point. Is you could say, yeah, I'll put in, but before we can get a divorce, we have to try really hard at therapy for 6 months before that or whatever, and because that is equally unenforceable. Fred Undead says coercion. Yeah, you could argue that too. Oldman says it might prove allegations of abuse even. Yeah, I think that this is insane. I think this person has super unrealistic expectations about what long-term relationships are, and people get sick, people get busy, people, I mean, go on work trips for a month. You can't commit to having sex once a week, at least once a week forever. That's not realistic, and COVID lasts longer than that. Doomswoop says, no, require therapy now. Lol, why do you need sex so much? I mean, I think that for lots of people that once a week is a reasonable want, but that actually doesn't seem like a whole lot to me. But having some kind of guarantee that that's something you have to do sounds... I mean, why would you want to marry someone that has that kind of expectation about anything? I mean, it was like, we got to go out to dinner once a week. We have to go to the movies once a week. We have to do anything for sure once a week. Just seems foolish and unrealistic. Fred and Dad says, people acting like sex is a basic need like food and sleep. Well, I mean, for some people it is. I'm not going to say that it's not that for everybody. But demanding that happens on such a concrete, regular basis seems super unrealistic. Oldman says, if there is a dead bedroom, it's because one or both partners have made it clear that it's an obligation. Yeah, there's no better way to get people to not want to do something than to tell them that they have to do it. I agree with that for sure. Fred and Dad, I know that, you know, without food or sleep, people die, and people don't die without sex. I'm not saying that it's exactly the same thing. But it's, you know, I think it's totally reasonable for him to say, like, that's something I'd like to do if you're up for it, but saying you have to no matter what. And if you don't, then you lose everything in the divorce. I mean, I'm assuming losing everything in the divorce means that she loses everything of hers too, because they signed a 50-50 prenup. So she's got assets going into this too. Yeah, it sounds like it's a disaster. Oldman says relationships can be... I'm not sure where you're going there, Oldman. That is what makes it so fraught and not happy. Yeah, I feel like this isn't the kind of person that you should marry. The fact that they see sex as being something that's so transactional, I guess that's what bothers me the most, is that it's transactional. Is it doesn't matter if you want to do it or not. I want to do it, so we have to do it. Is gross and unhealthy and unsustainable. And you know, if you are in a relationship with someone and you want to have sex every day, and they want to have sex zero amounts, then you're going to have sex zero amounts, because people can't you can't obligate someone into having sex. That's not sex. That's a different thing altogether, and that's not the sort of thing that anyone should ever have to live through. So that's really what it boils down to. And I guess, you know, that is maybe my take on any type of like sexual politics or sexual like conflict in a relationship, is you got to go with what the lesser interested person wants to do. If there's person A wants to do it every day and person B wants to do it once a month, then you're going to do it once a month, because you should never obligate people into having sex. That's not... Sex is something that you do with a person. It's not someone that you do to someone. So everyone's got to be on board. And this is the biggest red flag there, is just don't get married to this person. Doesn't sound like a good idea. You're not in it so far that you can't get out now. seems reasonable to me. On that note, I think we're gonna wrap it up a little early. I'm I'm super tired, and also I'm starting to cough a lot. Our 3-year-old was coughing a lot last night and today, and I guess now I've got their cough, so that's what I'm doing. Thanks for listening, everyone. This has been the Advice Stream. I'm your host, Jeremy International. We've been live on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. I appreciate everyone participating and joining along. We will be back next week with Oldman with working audio. We will figure out what we need to do to make that work before we meet next time. If you would like to seek advice from us on our next show, you can head on over to JeremyInternational.com. There's a contact form at the bottom. Please feel free to leave a tip there also if you would like. I will use that tip to buy more old video games that we will play on the show. So have a good night. Thanks again, and we will see you next time.